Hello and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. We are on episode 83 and it is Tuesday, August 1st, 2017. And with me as always is my co-host and social media chair, Carl Byrd.
What's going on, everybody?
Yes, indeed. And today in the studio we have our very special guest, Curtis Parvin of Splash Page Comics.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, everything's going great, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, and thanks for being here, man. This is awesome. You know, I know we've been kind of talking about, collaborating for a while. So
Yeah. I think it's cool that you guys, talk about comics and pop culture and movies, and I'm just here to, talk and just have a good time.
Awesome. Yeah.
Indeed, it will be. So, like we said, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Cool.
Yeah, indeed. And we'll get to it here. And
Not to mention, we have your partner Drew coming in.
Yep.
as
Drew,
well.
Yeah, Drew's on the way.
All
yep,
right.
awesome.
Yeah, he's the illustrator of our comics, and I am the writer.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Yeah, so we'll definitely talk about your comic, Legend of Beard Fist, later on in the show. And thank you to all of our Facebook Live viewers who are popping in. And we pretty much got a few things to talk about. I know we took the last week off, but now we're back on our regular schedule on Tuesday nights.
My bad for that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's good to have a break every now and then. So with that said, Carl, what you been up to, man?
I've been revisiting a lot of the Beyond the Ring documentaries on the WWE Network, mainly because I get tired at night, so I want to watch. I don't want to watch something that I have to pay attention to, because if I fall asleep, I'll be really pissed and I have to start all over again. So I just throw something that I've watched like a while ago, and I don't care if I fall asleep on it. Yeah. So one of them that I watched was the Triumph and Tragedy of World Class Championship Wrestling. That was a promotion back in the 80s where that took place in the Dallas, Texas. Yep. Territory, ran by Fritz Von Erich, and the big stars were the Von Erich family, which consists of him and his 5 sons: Kevin, Kerry, Mike, David, and Chris. They were pretty much like on top of the world. They were like rock stars, especially during one of their notable feuds were against the Fabulous Freebirds, which consisted of Michael P.S. Hayes, Buddy Roberts, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and then later on, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. Mm-hmm. And then like I said, it was such a big territory until the 80s. That drug culture came in, and then unfortunately, like a lot of the wrestlers started dying off, like Gino Hernandez was one of them, and then pretty much all of the members of the Von Erich family. First one to go was David, who had the utmost potential. He was actually going to be the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time.
Oh wow! But
he ended up getting sick at a trip to Japan, and I think it was like he had an explosion in his intestines or something like that. Oof. There's still speculations on his death to this day, but he ended up passing away, and then that led to Mike Von Erich. He ended up committing suicide. Then later on, baby brother Chris shot himself. Well, Mike killed himself by overdosing on Placido and alcohol. Damn. And then Chris, who he was smaller than the rest of his brothers, he just wanted to wrestle, but he couldn't, and he was so depressed by that to the point where he shot himself. And then Kerry, who's later on, who went to the WWE to become the Texas Tornado. He was Intercontinental Champion at one time.
Yep.
He ended up getting into a whole bunch of trouble, and he had like some drug problems as well. He got into the motorcycle accident where he actually had to get his foot amputated, and he actually wrestled with a prosthetic foot.
Wow. How does that work?
You wouldn't have been able to tell. I didn't know until I was older, and I'm like, wow, he had a fake foot. I think it was his right foot that was amputated, and he wrestled on a prosthetic foot, and nobody knew, and he wasn't able to tell. So, but then, like I said, he was embarrassing the family name, and then he ended up shooting himself on the ranch. So that right now there's only one member of the Von Erich brothers left, and that's older brother Kevin.
Oh wow!
So we went into that one, and then I also visited Brian Pillman's Loose Cannon. Now I'm not sure if you remember. Oh, I guess the here. What's going on, Drew?
Hey, not much.
Hey,
How's it going, man?
hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thanks. It's good to be here.
Good.
Yeah.
And you are
Drew's dad.
Drew's dad. Drew's dad's here, everybody.
Hey, nice to meet you.
So, I got into Brian Pillman's Loose Cannon. Now, Brian Pillman, he was probably one of the innovators of the cruiserweight division back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
He trained with Stu Hart and the rest of the Hart family. And then he ended up becoming tag teams with Stone Cold Steve Austin, well, Stunning Steve Austin at the time. So they were Flying Brian, Stunning Steve Austin, the Hollywood Blondes. He later on became a short-term member of the Four Horsemen, and then he was a member of the Hart Foundation and the WWE. And he was probably the one to start setting up like you can tell with a lot of his antics, like the gun angle that he did with Stone Cold, the Marlene is my love slave for a month angle that he did with Goldust, and you can tell that was when the Attitude Era was getting ready to seep in, and then unfortunately he ended up having a heart attack and passing away at the age of 35.
Yeah.
So it actually just makes me wonder, wow, if he didn't die, and then the Attitude Era just came in, just really went in, what would he have, what would he have done? What role would he have played in the WWE at that time? And then I also went into the Powerful Families of Wrestling, which it just highlights, not all of them, because I'm sure there's tons of them, but many of the more prolific families of wrestling, the Anna Wyatt family, McMahon's, the Von Erichs, the Harts, and the Wyndhams, and you name it, they just highlighted. So that was a cool. Those were some cool documentaries to revisit as I went to sleep. But
Nice.
I definitely recommend you guys, any wrestling fan who's into the history of wrestling, recommend anybody to just get into it and just watch it and check it out for yourself.
Nice.
So that's pretty much me. What about you?
Oh yeah, just been catching up on a bunch of movies and whatnot. Let's see, I caught a few over the weekend. One of which I recommend. The other one, we'll get into that in a bit. The first one that I did see, it was a couple weeks ago, was Christopher Nolan's latest film, Dunkirk.
I heard that was really good.
That was excellent.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You've seen it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance yet.
Me neither.
Oh man,
You're not alone.
Dunkirk, it's a film that's written and directed by Christopher Nolan. It's actually his 10th feature film.
You're just a Christopher Nolan fan, aren't you?
Absolutely. Like Christopher Nolan, so far he's 10 for 10. He's probably one of the only filmmakers I can think of that has not made a bad film yet.
He's a master of the craft. He's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this film, Dunkirk, man, it's just on a technical level, on a directorial level, it's just incredible to watch. And it's actually one of the very few films that I recommend if you can squeeze out a few extra dollars. I do recommend watching it in IMAX because it was shot in 65 millimeter and it was shot in a large film format. And he utilizes every inch of that frame. I actually saw it in IMAX and I was just blown away. And the whole film, it's this really intense war drama, which it's like a dramatization of the whole Dunkirk evacuation, where a bunch of British and French and Belgian troops were stranded on this beach of Dunkirk, France. German Nazis were basically pushing them into the sea.
Okay.
And so the Allied forces had to launch this evacuation operation to get their troops out to safety. And the film is structured into 3 distinct parts. And so there's one part which takes place on the beach, which takes place over the span of a week, and then you have one which takes place on the sea in the English Channel, which takes place over the span of a day, and then you have the air, which takes place over the span of 1 hour, and the whole film intercuts between those 3 distinct time periods, and throughout the film, man, it's just it's like an intense experience where it's kind of like Black Hawk Down in the sense that you don't really follow any one particular protagonist, and in fact, there are many people in the film, characters that you don't even know the names of. You just follow them, and you're just stuck in. You're just thrown into the experience of wanting to survive and get to safety. And I thought that worked to a really, really great effect. The cinematography was awesome by Hoyt van Hoytema, who was a cinematographer for Interstellar.
Okay.
And so you see like wide shots of like the foam-soaked beaches, the endless choppy seas. There's some intense dogfighting with Tom Hardy's character, who's a pilot who has to contend with not only shooting down enemy planes, but he also has to contend with not having enough fuel in his plane to actually complete the mission. And then you have Mark Rylance's character, who's a civilian, who takes him and his son and another his son's friend, and they go out to sea to actually try to rescue as many British troops as they can on their small boat. And it's like wow, it was incredible to see that, because Mark Rylance, his performance was also very well done, in that like he was just a guy who had no military training, but he just wanted to do his part and to save as many lives as he could. And it's like, wow, you have no weapons, all you have is this small civilian vessel, this boat. You could just be easily bombed out to oblivion, but he managed to do what he could. And also the score of the film by Hans Zimmer, it's like nonstop throughout the film, which could be a criticism, because like the score consists of like ticking, the sound of like ticking a stopwatch, that Inception bong, that sound effect that you hear.
That they had in Dark Knight.
Yep, that ship.
Is that pretty much a Christopher Nolan trademark?
Yeah, Hans likes his horns, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah. that's a trademark right there.
Yeah. And like the score is like nonstop,
yeah.
and it definitely adds to the whole chaos of the film too. And man, it's definitely an experience, and it's actually Christopher Nolan's shortest film too. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a tight movie. Yeah.
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 And like everything is just it was just an amazing to watch. So I highly recommend watching Dunkirk. Like I said, watch it in 65 millimeter if you can squeeze an extra couple of bucks. Otherwise, you can kind of, I guess you can kind of watch it in regular 35 millimeter, which I'm sure is a good experience. But this is one where I say IMAX is worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. And you said that you've seen it too.
Yeah,
right?
I did not see it in IMAX, but the experience, like you said, is definitely worth it. It gets a thumbs up from me, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. So I watched that. That's one film I recommend. And the other film that I did watch over the weekend was Atomic Blonde, which there's all right. Well, Atomic Blonde, just to set it up, it stars Charlize Theron, James McAvoy, and it's a film that's based on this graphic novel that was published in 2012 called The Coldest City, and it's like an espionage thriller, kind of sort of done in the style of like a John le Carre movie or novel, but just with a lot more action. And the film stars Charlize Theron as this MI6 agent named Lorraine, and she's tasked with finding this list of undercover agents. Mm-hmm. She's tasked with recovering it, otherwise before her and her whole operation gets exposed. And the whole film takes place in 1989 Berlin, shortly before the fall of the Berlin Wall. So it's kind of like a end of the Cold War era thriller. I will say that the film has a ton of amazing action scenes, especially like towards the in the third act. There's like this really long take of this action scene, which takes place in the stairwell, and it just keeps going on. And I thought it was really well directed and shot. The cinematography was nice. It was by Jonathan Sella, who was the cinematographer for John Wick. And in fact, David Leitch, he was a co-director of John Wick. He also directed this film. The action scenes were on point, and the soundtrack was fantastic too. A lot of 80s rock. But I can't recommend the film because the story and the characters were absolutely weak. Like there was really no character development with the main character, the Atomic Blonde, if you will.
She doesn't have a name. She's just actually called Atomic Blonde.
No, her name's Lorraine.
Oh,
but
that's it.
Yeah, and and it's like you don't know too much about her, so it's like there's no personal stakes, unlike John Wick, where he was a pissed off dog owner and you felt sorry for him. This one is like, well, she's just a competent agent. That's all you need to know. And the story and the characters are so weak that even in the scene where she had a love scene with a Sofia Boutella, even when that went down, all I could say was cool, and then that was it. The story definitely drags this film down to a rental because it starts to become a little too cute, a little too convoluted for its own good, and then at the end of it, you're like, well, if this was condensed into a 20-minute short film and it was just that one action scene in the stairs with that long take, I could easily recommend it. But as it stands, you're better off redboxing it.
So you basically left with no joy at all?
I mean, if you're just looking at the action scenes, if you were to redbox this movie, or better yet, borrow it from the library for free, fast forward to the last 20 minutes, and then be like, wow, that was really cool. Then return it and then enjoy the rest of your day. That's how I say that's the amount of joy you can get out of the film.
Gee.
Yeah,
that's rather disappointing.
It is, but I did see it with Jim Savard, who was a friend of the show.
Shout out to him.
Yep, creator of the Hellion comic. He loved it, and I'm glad that he got way more out of it than I did. So, yeah.
But then again, you pretty much hate everything.
I don't hate everything, dude. Man, see this. I gotta stop this meme, man. you keep perpetuating it. That's not true.
You just gotta watch some stuff that makes people happy and actually like it.
I mean, well, speaking of which, I do have some Criterions I can recommend for
Go on ahead.
All right.
Go on ahead. Just put us back on Facebook Live.
I'm very interested in this because I just went to the Criterion sale and bought a whole bunch of movies. So let's see what you got.
Man, let me tell you something. You tagged us into you put on a post about the Criterion sale.
Yeah.
You tagged us. Victor lost his damn mind.
Really?
Well, I mean, it was great that I actually knew somebody who was into the Criterion Collection because, unfortunately, there's no one among our group that even knows what it is.
Like I told you before, I did not know what Criterion was until I started doing this podcast.
Yeah, but you actually managed to watch one film, which was
I did, Tootsie.
Yeah,
it's a great way to see rare films and things that are. Things are also only available sometimes on the Criterion label. Like I was mentioning to you before, like if you wanted to watch Kevin Smith's Chasing Amy, it's not available in any other format, at least in the United States.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, I did manage to pick up some more Criterions. I did post a few of the ones I got on Instagram, and so this was from my second and third trips over there. So I got Ousmane Sembène's debut feature, Black Girl, which is a really cool Senegalese French film. I got that. I got Woman of the Year, which is I think it was the first feature of Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. Really cool feature here. I also got this Italian neorealism set, the Roberto Rossellini's War Trilogy. It features Rome, Open City, Paysan, and Germany Year Zero. 3 great films. If you're into some Italian neorealism, this is a good place to start. Jim Jarmusch's Night on Earth.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Jim Jarmusch films.
Very, very funny and a lot of dark humor.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's a nice little anthology film. Just five taxi cab rides, interesting dialogue. They Live by Night, the debut feature of Nicholas Ray, a nice little crime feature, film noir. And last but not least, on DVD, Burden of Dreams,
which I watched recently, and it's really, really good.
Yeah,
Werner Herzog he's just a maniac. He's one of the best filmmakers, and just in his ability to, what he's willing to do to make a film. Like he's willing to literally and figuratively walk through fire to make a film.
Yeah,
to not put too fine a point on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the whole film it's about the making of the movie Fitzcarraldo, where he basically managed to drag a whole steamer through a jungle. Back then there was no CG in the 80s. There was no miniatures. He actually dragged a whole boat through the jungle.
Tried to pull a steamship over a hill in the middle of the jungle.
Yep, just because he said he thought he could,
yep.
and he did. Was it worth it? Well,
probably not.
I mean, well. I'll leave it up to you to figure out. But
it's a great documentary. If anybody's interested in or just starting to make films, watch this movie and then basically see how far you're willing to go. Because depending on the kind of movie you're making, where the setting is, the type of actors you have, the size of the production, your budget, it can get really, really hairy really quick.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's what I got. Those are the movies I watched. How about you guys? What have you guys
What have you guys been up to lately?
been up to? Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Recently,
Actually, well, tell us more about yourself. We kind of just went on to our usual format, sorry, by habit. We didn't even get a chance to like introduce you, really properly introduce you. Tell us about yourself, Drew.
Me. I right now for a living I drive a candy van, which is way less creepy than it sounds. I promise. But by night I draw Beard Fist for Splash Page Comics, and that one was that's an idea I've had for 4 or 5 years now.
Really?
Started back in like early high school, and back then it was just like a dumb little character I would draw, and then I started to add more characters and flesh out the story a little bit more, and then get to the point where I had a whole arc that I wanted to tell, but comics were really the only medium in which I could tell them, which is good because I have a lot of comics at home. So
Nothing wrong with that.
so I knew kind of what I was getting into. I've done comics since I was a kid. Before I could even read, I would be drawing comics with like real basic characters and stuff in them. And then I met Curtis through a mutual friend we have, and I found out that he was a filmmaker. And we actually met when I was pretty young, but recently I pitched an idea to him, and he fell in love with it. He loved it. Basically what I needed was somebody to help me form all the ideas I had into an actual cohesive narrative, and that's where he comes in. So we
excuse me. It's actually kind of the perfect collaboration because he had all these characters, and he was incredibly gifted in terms of illustrating something, drawing. Coming up with different characters and scenarios and so on, and I actually have a background in screenwriting. I went to a liberal arts college, and I got a degree in English, and I minored in film and video studies. So writing, storytelling, it's always been kind of my bag. And after college, this was about 2010 or 11 or something like that. I was basically trying to make independent films and realizing that, again, getting back to Burden of Dreams, that I kind of wish I had seen that back then when I was wanting to basically get my own crew and do it. I'm thinking like, oh well, Kevin Smith, Robert Rodriguez, I can do it too, But it's actually incredibly taxing on you emotionally and physically and everything. And I realized that I did get it together outside of school and make a short film with the help of the Rhode Island Film Collaborative, but then we really didn't have anywhere for it to go. It really wasn't going to be marketed. It just kind of stayed maybe like on YouTube or whatever. So I thought to myself, I'm like, well, I still want to tell stories. I still want to write. I still have a lot of creative juice. And then I met Drew, and he's like, I have this character. He's a mythical kind of Celtic Scottish guy, and he has a 3-foot-long beard with a hand at the end of it that has a mind of its own that he can use to drink beer and swing swords, and let's tell an adventure story. So me being a fan of both crazy, grisly action heroes, facial hair, and fantasy stories in the vein of Tolkien and things like that, and also combined with the comics that I just started to get into in the past couple years, I thought, well, let's do this. We have a lot of energy, and it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's very good too. We did,
thank you.
We did read it before.
Thanks.
For the show today.
That's reassuring. It would be kind of crappy to get on the show and be like, yeah, guys, it's great, but we hate your comic.
No, it actually is good. Is there a issue 2 coming out?
There is.
Yeah.
It is. It's slowly in development, but it is coming out. And
all right, cool.
We're actually trying to get a few issues printed for the SwanCon coming up.
Yeah.
In late August.
Yep.
And that'll be pretty exciting. That'll be our first official con that we went to and had a table at. and then hopefully there's more from there.
Okay.
Yes. SwanCon is basically it's going to be it's a library. It's the Swansea Public Library, and they're organizing basically a little Comic-Con. I think they've been doing it for like 3 years or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
It's fairly new.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fairly new, and they've been really positive and very encouraging about just getting new people in there and new creators and stuff. And it looks like we're probably going to sell some actual tangible books, because right now our books are only available, the Beard Fist and another one shot we did called Building Bridges. They're available right now on Comixology, but you can only read them as digital files on your tablet or Nook or so on. So when we do the SwanCon thing, we're actually going to have con exclusives printed up, which are going to be, we're going to try to have issue 1 of Beard Fist, and then you flip it over, and then you'll have the Building Bridges, which is a 15 or 16 page the one shot that we did. So it's going to be the con exclusive you can get there, and we're also we're talking with another comic book venue, a show in Cambridge at Lesley University called the Mice Expo, the Massachusetts Independent Comic Book Expo, and they're really cool. I've been there a few times, and they're basically just super welcoming to indie creators from the New England area. Some people even, fly as far as, they fly in, or they come in from Maine or something like that. It's a big event. It's a big event, but it's a small space, but a big event in terms of the creative potential and the talent that's there. And that's usually it's like a weekend. It's like a Saturday and a Sunday, usually in October sometimes. So we're in negotiations right now to get a table for that too. So we're going to be looking at actually getting to cons and sitting down and shaking hands with people and promoting it that way, because it's the best way to meet people, for them to actually pick up your book and say oh, what about this page, or can you sign it? Online, when people buy it from Comixology, there's no opportunity for us to put a personal touch on it and sign it and thank them with a little pen signature or something. So we're really looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice, awesome, and also great job on the first issue of A Legend of Beard Fist as well.
Oh, thanks.
I also really dig the art style, Drew. Like it kind of reminds me of Scott Pilgrim.
It's actually it's funny you mention that, because that was one of the main things that gave me the idea of doing sort of a graphic novel type deal. Was back in high school when I saw the movie first. I wish I'd read the comics, but the movie was what got me into the comics. So I guess it all kind of comes around.
Yeah.
But I'd seen Adventure Time, right, and I practiced doing that for a while, and then I read Scott Pilgrim, and I loved that art style, so I practiced doing that as well. And then I sort of tried to combine the two into my current art style. And I think that's why you're getting the Scott Pilgrim vibes from it.
Nice. You should check out Hellion, Jim Savard's comic. You can actually buy it around the corner at Rock Hoko's, and that style reminded me just as much as that one as well. So I was like, oh my god, this is like Jim Savard. They should read it. I wonder what they read it. Yeah, definitely check that one out.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So where did the actual the concept of the character came from?
Actually, it's funny. The first time I drew him, I have an old sketchbook, and I was just drawing a hipster. He started out almost the exact opposite of what he turned out to be, and he was just this hipster in a striped shirt. And I made his beard go all around the page. It was super long, and I didn't know how to finish off the beard, so just put a hand at the end, and then that was it, right? And then I have a DeviantArt account, and then I was doing an art trade with another person, and they had a long list of things they wanted me to put in the drawing. We did that back and forth, and I wanted something to sort of wrap it all together. Yeah. So that was the first official picture of Beard Fist that I did there. And he's just gone through several iterations since then. I've changed the color of his shirt. I've changed how big his muscles are and stuff. But the inspiration for the character was literally just a doodle in it.
Wow, nice.
I mean I think that's how the best ones get started.
Shout outs to originator of the show, Aris. He says, "Hey guys, great comics convo."
Oh, thanks.
Nice, awesome. And like, are there any graphic novels or any comics that inspire you guys to like come up for like with ideas or concepts or things that kind of like, wow?
You want to take that one first?
Yeah, not so much graphic novels that give me inspiration, but it's more just like other media, like The Lord of the Rings was a big inspiration. With the scope of the story I want to tell.
Definitely,
and,
The Hobbit. Yeah, definitely.
And like Game of Thrones was like sort of the aesthetics for the world. I take a lot of inspiration from that one. But like as far as comics go, none really come to mind. I could say maybe there's this other one by a friend of mine. Her name's Jackie Musto, and she does one called K&P, but another one called Lady Skylark. And you can find her on Instagram, I think by the same name. And her Lady Skylark one is really the one that sort of like inspired me to do the comics, you know. That sounds.
She's been really supportive. She's been really supportive too. I remember Drew introduced me to her at the last Mice Expo that we went to. In Cambridge. Yeah.
What's her name? Jackie
Musto.
Musto. Okay.
It's actually
MUSTO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see her there because like she's still a very local artist. So I wasn't that surprised, but I didn't know she was going to be there. Is the point? So it was a pleasant surprise when I saw her.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was definitely going to say not so much as far as like reading like Batman or Spider-Man or something like that, but the person that actually has been a great sounding board for me and has basically mentored me by saying you can do it and looking over some of my sample scripts before Beard Fist and so on. There's a woman, her name is Jenny Wood, and she does a comic. I don't know if you guys are familiar
Flutter.
with it. It's called Flutter. Are you familiar with Flutter?
I have Flutter.
Oh, okay, cool.
Flutter's
Yeah.
really good.
What happened was this is how I got into essentially. I was interested in writing comics. And we talked about doing Beard Fist. This was a couple of years ago, and the one thing that really cemented it for me was I went to a Rhode Island Comic-Con for the first time, and I met her, I met Jenny Wood in Artist Alley, and I basically just started an email relationship with her and saying sending her sample comics and things like that, things that I'm writing, just to see if my format was correct and if she thought if she liked the characters and so on or whatever, and that just developed from there. I went to the Mice Expo and I saw her there, and I bought her book. I contributed to her Kickstarter, and there was actually, this is really, really great too. I'm very proud of her because to know her, because not only has she helped motivate me and get my foot in the door, and she's been a big supporter of just developing my raw talent, But there was also an article recently that came out in the Hollywood Reporter where she and a bunch of other people are in talks to turn their comics into series. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, she is going to collaborate with someone to turn Flutter into a series that's, I think maybe, if I get this correct, it's going to be written by the person who wrote one of the Netflix series. What is that? Something 8? What's that series?
Sense8.
Sense8. Yeah, I believe that they're in talks to basically adapt it into a television show. So I think that
awesome.
I saw her name in the Hollywood Reporter. I'm like, I know this person. I think that's really cool. She's helped me along the way. She's very talented, and the art style of Flutter is absolutely incredible, done by an artist named Jeff McComsey, and he's really great too. So I guess as far as people that I've actually met and corresponded with, those people have really influenced me in terms of, in a direct way, as far as motivating me to do more and to being like, you can do this, just try, right? But as far as Beard Fist, and the things that influence, our characters and our background and the surrounding, I really like Celtic and Scandinavian culture. Especially the Vikings and the black metal from overseas and stuff like that. So I want I think as often as we can in Beard Fist, I like to, like in issue 2, there's like a fight scene that we have, and there's a castle and stuff, and I want it to be with swords, and I like it to be like as metal as possible, like in quotes, you know what I mean? Like, literally and figuratively, like they're fighting with, steel, and iron weapons, but it's also, influenced by how much I like, Ronnie James Dio and Black Sabbath and stuff like that, so it's, so a lot of different things. I would say music, Scandinavian culture, Preacher. You mentioned Lord of the Rings, so there's a lot of it in there, and we also try to infuse a lot of humor in there too, because we don't want it to get too serious. We like to whenever Beard Fist, you'll notice as you read these issues, whenever Beard Fist like gets too serious and gets too paternal in the group, and tries to be too much of like the dad with like who's maybe needs to loosen up and have some fun. Like he'll always be cut down whenever he gets too serious by either Chap or Ophelia or other two main characters. So.
Yeah, the humor for it comes, at least for me, comes a lot from this game called Brutal Legend by Double Fine. Came out like a decade or so ago.
Oh yeah.
It's completely undersold, but it undersold. But it's such a great game. It's like a hidden gem, and not enough people played it. But aside from that, there's also with inspiration, Skyrim comes to mind for me. I don't know if you guys ever played Skyrim.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
See, that's one of those things that the world is so like open and full of possibilities that you can have like an adventure that's not even part of a quest. And so I'll be just walking through the the Skyrim landscapes, and I'll happen upon this guy and I help him out. Maybe he gives me some gold or something, but something will happen, and I think to myself like, damn, this would be really cool to write in like a Beard Fist story, And so sometimes those are the little things that inspire some entire story arcs,
Okay. And a couple of friends from the show wondering if you. Hold on, let me go back just a little bit.
Whatever the question is. Yes.
Okay, they said, have you guys, this is from Aris, have you guys heard of this little known manga named Dragon Ball? I hear there's a hot new video game coming out based on it. They've been bothered, because Victor's not a Dragon Ball fan at all. And I am, I'm amped for the...
It's okay, neither am I.
You're not a Dragon Ball fan at all?
No, my buddy was growing up, and he was always watching it when I was over his house. But like, I never pursued it outside of there. Every time I turned it on, there'd be some sort of fight going on that I didn't understand the motivations for, so I didn't really have that much emotional investment in it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll give it this: the fight scenes were amazing, and the animation is really impressive. But again, I didn't really get into it.
Just wasn't your thing?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I would hang out with the art kids. I was in like an advanced drawing class, and I would hang out with the kids that were into anime and things like that. So they got me this was in the days of Toonami. So this was like 2003, I would say, or something like that, right, on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
So I caught. They're like, you got to watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, okay. So I caught it, and I watched the Majin Buu saga. So I think I watched the most of that. And at the time, I was maybe like, I don't know, 15, 16, something like that. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, okay, I really like this, but I'm also told by people too, because I kind of fell out of it, but I'm also told by people that like that's like the worst part of Dragon Ball Z. Like I missed all the good stuff. I missed the Saiyans, I missed Frieza, I missed everything. Like I got to it way too late,
You can always watch back.
Yeah.
You can always look back and watch.
Yeah. But no, I am a fan of anime as well. It's not necessarily a direct influence on Beard Fist, but I am a fan of. I think we both like Miyazaki, right? Spirited Away and things like that. Yeah, and Otomo, Akira, and things like that. So we're kind of open to all things.
Okay, and Furman also wants to know: are you vamp or werewolf in Skyrim?
Werewolf.
Werewolf. There you got it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just a dark elf.
So, is Beard Fist is gonna have like a backstory? Because I'm kind of curious, like, how did he get a fist in his beard? Like,
well,
that's a lot.
We're kind of debating on actually like telling people how it happened, or just letting people wildly speculate. Because I think that's almost more fun than knowing.
That is true. Because DC has done the same thing with the Joker. Like, there's no official backstory.
Yeah.
He's just there.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when I would think about, sometimes like the downfall of doing a backstory that explains everything would be the Halloween movies. I know this is in no way related to Beard Fist, but just bear with me here. Like the Halloween directed by John Carpenter, like Michael Myers is killing everybody, and we don't know why. And that's really, really scary. And then we got the remake that Rob Zombie did, and he gave Michael a backstory, and I thought in a way that took away something from it. Like it took away the mystery. Yeah. So if anything, it's always a balancing act. It's always some kind of a slippery slope as far as giving a character a backstory, how far you want to go into it, and how much you want to leave up to the audience in the realm of it being mysterious.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm for that.
This is a cartoon on right now. A lot of people probably know about it. Steven Universe, right? That's a show completely based around mystery. There's all this, all these questions about what happened with the Gem War and where did this character come from and why did this character do this and for a couple of seasons it's fun having those questions, but after a while you do get tired of just the constant mystery. Sometimes you need answers,
right?
And then even when they give you answers, they still don't give you the full answer. So there's more to go back to, So I think that's the kind of direction we'd probably take it in. Like if we gave them any sort of answers, it would be very slim pickings.
I mean, regardless, I'm still going to read it. But
well, yeah, hope so.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, it's funny. With I also agree. Too much backstory could definitely ruin the mystique of a character.
Yeah.
For example, you mentioned the Halloween movies. I remember, the first Halloween, like Myers, you didn't know why he killed. In the first opening scene was you saw him as a child.
Yeah.
Murdering, I think it was his sister.
Yeah.
And that alone was just scary enough.
Oh, yeah.
And then Halloween 2 happened, where it's he's actually related to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and it's oh, okay.
Yeah, Darth Vader. That was weird.
Oh yeah, Vader. Speaking of which, are you guys you guys are Star Wars fans?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
big time.
Here we go.
Are you guys fans of the prequels?
I'm not a fan of Episode 1, but Episode 2 and 3, separately from Episode 1, they're just fine.
I like parts of Episode 1. My favorite thing about Episode 1 is definitely Darth Maul, and I'm really thrilled in getting back to comics. I'm really thrilled that somebody's writing I think there may be there are a couple issues into a new Darth Maul comic book, and I think that's really, really cool because I don't think that I think if anything I think that character was wasted. I think that I'm just if I really think that they really should have kept him for the first movie, and then maybe the ultimate, Darth, when Darth Maul gets dispatched would be the climax of the second one or something, Mm-hmm. So it's without getting too much into it, I like parts of the prequels, and I like how dark the Revenge of the Sith got, but overall, I've seen Star Wars movies that are better put together, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. For me, the original trilogy and Episode 7, those are the ones that can't be beat. And I'm looking forward to Last Jedi, which comes out in December.
Oh yeah.
Especially watching the latest one, Force Awakens, it actually for me kind of exposed just how creatively useless the prequels are. Yeah. I mean, the prequels have great elements to them, but for me, as I mentioned, the prequels had great ideas, but just terrible execution. Where I mean, it was interesting seeing Anakin's fall from grace, but the way it was handled, it was like that one scene where he killed Mace Windu, and then he decided, okay, I'm Darth Vader now. It's
I want to talk about prequels, though. How'd you feel about Rogue One?
I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because
I liked it.
I was going to bring it up.
I liked it. I thought it was. I thought it was an enjoyable movie.
Yeah,
I thought Rogue One. It was entertaining, but wasn't it an essential film? It wasn't.
No, absolutely not. If the only thing it really added was explaining why the Death Star had such a weird weakness.
Yeah.
And but besides that, I still enjoy the adventure.
Mm-hmm. I did too. I would have loved to have seen those characters kind of fleshed out more, but I knew they pretty much all.
As far as the whole package, though, would you agree that it is the best Star Wars film since Return of the Jedi?
Rogue One.
Yeah,
I would say Force Awakens easily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, buddy, I gotta agree with him on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Star Wars prequels, what do you guys think about the upcoming Han Solo feature?
I haven't heard enough about it to really form an opinion yet.
Who's playing Han Solo?
Alden Ehrenreich. He was in Hail Caesar, Coen Brothers movie.
I'm not down for it. I'm really not. I was telling someone this the other day. I'd actually rather see a Boba Fett film or somebody that just never really got enough time. Because as much as people love Boba Fett, he's really only has a few lines in the Star Wars world. He's only kind of in the background, stuff like that. And there's a lot. allegedly like the expanded universe or whatever, like how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. There's a lot of it's very rich for story there.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe even incorporating some of the other bounty hunters too, like IG-88 and stuff like that. So so Han Solo movie, not so much for me.
Yeah, and plus like all the behind the scenes drama. I don't know if you guys have read about it, but yeah. Apparently, the original directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
That's right.
Yeah.
They got canned,
and then
they got,
Ron Howard came in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because apparently Lord and Miller, they were directing it in the style of their original comedies.
Yeah.
It was like more improv than going off script. There were some reports that Alden Ehrenreich had to hire an acting coach because his performance became more like Han Solo Ace Ventura, and it was like, well, that which makes me kind of curious in a morbid way.
He's gonna start talking with his ass.
If it was like a parody film, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it because I really want to see Donald Glover as Lando. I think I'm optimistic about that, but as a whole film, again, like I said, not so much. But I mean, I have complete faith in Ron Howard as a filmmaker. Like I think he's very, very talented. I just don't know if Ron Howard's the best fit for a Star Wars film.
Yeah, I mean,
I could agree with that though. Like his stuff that he's done with the Robert Langdon trilogy, Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. I still have yet to see Inferno, but I love those movies. Those are some of my favorites. So him doing a Star Wars, I just don't really see his style.
No, I like Ron Howard too. I mean, one of my favorite movies of the past couple of years has been Frost Nixon. Frost Nixon was incredible, where Frank Langella played Richard Nixon, and what's his name? Michael Sheen was David Frost. Yeah.
Yep. And also Rush was pretty underrated too.
Yeah, I still need to see that.
Yeah.
I did want to see that. I did want to see that. Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
So maybe that undercuts my whole argument. He has done fantasy adventure movies before. Okay.
Well, I still haven't seen Willow.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't comment on that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Drew, we had this conversation before we aired. Drew, you Marvel or DC?
Marvel, all the way.
It's a good high five too.
Well, okay. Well, what makes you prefer Marvel over DC?
Quality.
Okay.
That's a good enough answer. You can't get better than that.
DC has Batman, and Batman is super badass, but all of their other heroes are kind of, they're almost overpowered now, especially Superman. Like, there's nothing he can't do to the point where it becomes boring. I'll agree. A lot of the Marvel comics have been meh over the past couple of years, but I think if you take it from like when they started to where they are now, there's a lot more hits than misses, and especially with the cinematic universe they have going, it's way stronger than DC's. DC started too late, and they're trying to play catch up when really they should have just taken the time to do it right, and then they would have been a little bit behind. But that's it,
Yeah. Okay. I would say that Marvel has DC beat in terms of their films, even though the MCU can be criticized for taking the safe route more often than not.
It's Disney. They're gonna do it. They gotta
give DC this. Their animated films are always top quality. Like they just blow the Marvel animated films out of the water.
Okay,
every time.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Justice League Dark. I've heard that was really good.
Yeah, one I've heard is good.
That's excellent.
If you watch the second half of The Killing Joke, that's the only part you really need to see. Just skip over the Batgirl monologue.
Oh, yeah.
It's just filler. It's still fine in its own right, but it doesn't belong tacked onto The Killing Joke.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus I heard that there was like some weird sex scene between Batgirl and Bruce Wayne.
Sex scene, and it is very weird.
Yeah.
I cheered.
It's back again to what we were talking about before the podcast about how DC's always taking more chances. You know what I mean? They're always willing to take like a bigger risk and risk some kind of controversy or critical backlash. Even in animated films.
Yeah, which is true. but don't you think they could have been, at least for the feature movies? Do you think they could have been planned out much better?
Well, the thing about The Killing Joke is, like, everyone forgets how short that book is.
Yeah.
So, like, if you did it as a feature film, like, just the book, the way that Alan Moore wrote it. It would
be like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it would be at the most 35 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very long at all. So they had to do something with it, regardless of how people felt about it. Yeah. So I'm gonna get the question now.
No.
About Marvel or DC.
Oh, we are. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Marvel or DC.
Films. DC, because I like slow, depressing foreign films, and I like. And I like. He's pointing at Victor, and
depressing.
So what's even better than a movie that's done in Hollywood that's slow, depressing, and involves superhero characters? You know.
Well, I mean that is a valid point. I will say, if you were talking about DC as a whole, then you could make a compelling case, especially if you can conclude like Christopher Nolan's Batman films, the first two Richard Donner films.
If we want to draw the line, I would say that from Man of Steel on, everything has been very slow and depressing, and requires a lot of heavy lifting, and isn't definitely not as light and jovial as a Marvel film. I will concede that. But I don't mind that. You know, so I think it's just more of what an audience expects going into a film. When you hear superhero film, I have this discussion with people all the time. When you hear superhero film, most people immediately think of Marvel. It's going to be light. It's going to be flashy. There are going to be a lot of big action set pieces and so on. So, superhero movie kind of has that connotation of that superhero equals Marvel. So when that doesn't happen, people are kind of thrown off guard, and I think that's a lot of what DC does. They throw people off guard, but me personally, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect the creative risks. I will say that of all the films in the DCEU so far, Wonder Woman is easily the best one by default.
I keep hearing that, but I still haven't seen it.
Oh man, you've got it.
I won't spoil it. Don't listen to our Wonder Woman spoiler episode.
Yes, our Wonder Woman episode, we do get into a spoiler review, so I recommend listening to that after watching the film. I will say Wonder Woman is the best DCEU film by default because it's the only one that's not outright terrible.
Isn't that also the only one not directed by Christopher Nolan or the other guy?
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
That's not. I always get them mixed up.
Yeah. What's her name? Patty
Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins. The only movie she had done before Wonder Woman, I'm pretty sure that was a mainstream thing that everybody knew, was Monster with Charlize Theron, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that was excellent. So I mean, what I did was I actually watched Monster before I went to see. I know it was in no way related, but I watched Monster just because before I went to see Wonder Woman, because I wanted to see just her style, like what she was all about, you know. So it's good. I have faith in her as a director. I liked Wonder Woman. Very good.
Absolutely.
And she's supposed to be doing more Wonder Woman DC projects. Correct?
Yeah, I believe that she's tapped for Wonder Woman 2 that comes out 2019. Yeah, which I'm looking forward to. Carl here underrated the worth of Wonder Woman in my view, but that's why we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, we definitely are gonna agree to disagree. I still don't. I thought the movie was good. You know, up until the end.
Well,
one of the podcasts I was listening to you guys before we were on the show, when I was researching.
I bet we were arguing, huh?
No, yeah. Basically, I wanted to see what you guys are about, you know. So and you guys, you were going off and just yelling and cursing about you're like Wonder Woman is awesome, you know, and then you didn't like it. It was hilarious.
I didn't like it. I was just like,
or you didn't think it lived up to the hype and everything.
It did, but then it has its flaws. Like, it has its major flaws. Like, it would require me to spoil it for you, and I do not want to do that. Just.
If you don't want to spoil it for the podcast, then I get it. But honestly, I've heard enough things about it. It's basically spoiled. You can talk about it.
Okay. All right. The guy at the end turns out is some guy who looks like because I'm forgetting. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm forgetting names. The guy who looks like Nigel Thornberry.
Yeah, it's David. Can I say it? Is it okay?
Yeah.
David Thewlis turns out to be is revealed that they do a bait and switch with the audience, and David Thewlis turns out to be Ares.
Right.
And there's an amazing fight sequence.
I didn't think so.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I think it just really got cheesy. It's like
really?
To me, it just seems like they were running out of money. It was literally like Suicide Squad. It had a pretty strong start, but then after a while, it just got real 1997 CGI cheesy with Enchantress trying to pop lock and whatever.
Well, it was not that bad. I mean, Suicide Squad was terrible on all fronts, but I will say that I give you that in that the climactic fight scene in Wonder Woman, it did kind of devolve somewhat into like a CG light show, like you see in Guardians and many of the MCU films. Yeah. But the drama behind the characters actually elevated it because Steve Trevor, fought the good fight. And it kind of gave it that pathos that it needed.
Yeah, I completely understood that. But just like the fun, because if you're gonna do like a fight scene at the end, like a climatic fight scene, like it has to be big. It has to like keep me in there. And then like it just kind of lost me. Like it just really looked like they ran out of money.
No, I disagree. I mean, I will say that. I mean, you're speaking about the Wonder Woman fight scene like it ended like a Lesnar Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. But anyway, we will table this for another time.
I'm a diehard Undertaker fan, so he always has to like jab at the Taker every chance he gets.
Yeah. For those of our listeners who don't know who the Undertaker is, he was an old man who stuck around in the ring for like 10 years too long. But anyway,
and all his best matches were later on in his career.
Yeah, sure.
And supervillain John Aponic says Suicide Squad has an Oscar.
It does. It does. It won for what, makeup? I think, right?
Yeah, makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, because of it inspired a bunch of Harley Quinn cosplays.
It did
last year.
Yeah, it did.
But
it really did.
Yeah.
Some were good. Some just had no business being Harley Quinn.
You know, that's kind of the same with all cosplays, though. You know, some are just amazing, and others are like, did you just buy some shit at the store?
No, I literally while we was talking to Curtis before he came here, at Comic-Con, I saw this girl who was dressed up as Harley Quinn when she probably should have been dressed up as BB-8.
Come on, that's mean.
Cut is.
Hashtag fat shaming. Don't do that. But
I think basically if you're cool and you're respectful and you're confident in what you're wearing, you're good with yourself, you're good with everybody else. I think you can cosplay as whatever you want.
Which is true.
I think that's fine.
Which is true, but I was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, you are the bad guy.
It just wasn't your thing,
Right. It didn't appeal to me.
Different strokes for different folks,
Correct.
Yeah. Have you guys ever gotten to cosplaying or wearing costumes for fun?
You know, I've thought about it for a few cons we've been to, but all the cosplays I want to do is just way too much work, and I'm not motivated enough. I'm like I want to wear it, I don't want to make it.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's my main hang up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, there's a lot of like excellent cosplays, but I'm looking at them. It's like, man, the dedication and the time and the resources and the money that you poured in.
My friends that cosplay, it's like all they do. Wow. And it's impressive, but it's like, you don't do anything else, though.
Yeah, I've seen. So yeah, we have a few friends, and like I follow her on Instagram. Her name's Carmen. And I'm just like the amount of things that she puts into, and just even the smallest details she puts like so much effort into it.
If you're talented and you're creative and you can make a good costume and you're good at marketing and so on, and you have a Patreon, you basically don't have to work. You know what I mean? Like
pretty much.
Work like a job. At tearing movie theater tickets or something. You know what I mean? Like you can really monetize if you're into that thing. But as far as cosplay goes, I really think there's a fine line with me because. We're trying to be as professional as possible, like when we go to cons and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
me too.
Wouldn't it? Do we talk about this? How being dressed up is like say if I was dressed up like Green Lantern or something like that, but I was also trying to meet maybe a famous artist or writer or something, or I was trying to pitch my book to somebody. I am still kind of dressed like Green Lantern. I don't
think we talked about that.
Yeah. But I find it. So I just kind of try to. Whenever I'm at a con, I rock like a superhero T-shirt or something, but I've never really go the full cosplay because I'm there to network. I've got business cards to hand out.
Exactly.
I'm there to meet people and get cool signed merch.
Exactly. I'm the same way. My birthday is literally around Halloween, so I have a big costume party every year. My birthday party, I'm going. I'll put my effort in and stuff. Comic-Con and Rhode Island Comic-Con is literally right after, and I'm like, oh, okay, got my Codex shirt. Let's go.
Cool.
That's it.
Yeah. For me, I have a couple of ideas for cosplays, or rather my I don't want to say half-assed, but something practical. Because I would like to go all out at the same time, but at the same time, I don't want to break the bank to do so.
Yeah,
and
actually, that reminds me of another fun cosplay that I've seen people do. Is if they can't afford to do something really flashy, they go hard the other way. They do something that purposely looks really crappy. you know, and they almost like make a joke out of it. Like seeing some like bad Iron Man where it's like they just like cut holes out of a bucket, put it on their head, like a pan or something on their chest.
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm Iron Man.
I kind of respect that even more though. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like
they're gonna get creative with how bad they can or how like functional they can make the costume out of.
Yeah,
that is true, and it can just be referenced to. I don't know. Have you guys seen? I don't even know if this was a real like '70s Avengers movie.
Okay,
but there was like a little trailer of it, and Iron Man was just literally like a bucket.
Yep.
Another bucket, maybe
two
more buckets.
I never saw that. I'm gonna have to YouTube that.
Do that. I think it's like a 1978.
It was really generous calling that Iron Man.
Yeah, it was.
He was like garbage can man.
He was, yeah.
He looked like the robot from Lost in Space.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
You really nailed it on that one.
Or you could just like wear like a leather jacket, some black jeans, and just like have cat makeup on and be like, I'm Catwoman.
What's even funnier though is how like even like if we go back to Star Wars and kind of passionate DIY filmmaking and being creative, like if you go back and watch Star Wars and like the original ones from like the 70s and 80s, the trilogy that everyone respects, some of the droids in the background are like recycle bins, like that they just painted. You know what I mean? Some things like I was reading. You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost, which is Felicia Day's kind of memoir about how she got started with kind of YouTube shows and kind of, a social media entrepreneur in a way. And she was saying that she got a tour of, ILM, Skywalker Ranch, Lucasfilm and everything. And she got to touch the Death Star 2 and all this kind of stuff. And then one of the things that she saw was like some prop, and all it was, the guy's just like, oh yeah, well that's just a Dixie cup that we painted. I couldn't believe it. So it's so even in movies that we really respect and we think have such great special effects, and Star Wars won several Oscars when it came out, blew everybody away. If you look close enough, they're using painted Dixie cups.
And those Dixie cups are probably worth millions.
Oh yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just creativity by necessity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, have you guys checked out the San Diego Comic-Con trailers?
Of anything? Or just
anything. Like, which one stood out to you?
I loved the new Thor trailer. That was pretty great with it. When Hulk speaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite out of the whole con. I hear that they got a new Infinity War trailer that they won't release online.
Yeah.
I'm itching to see that.
Me too.
Now, it was leaked. Badly footage. Like somebody just hid behind like a wall or something and just got their camera phone out. From what I saw, it looks amazing.
Oh, yeah, I bet it is.
I mean, it's the worst crappy leak ever. I agree. I appreciate, as a fan, I greatly appreciate him. I appreciate the effort, and I was able to see something.
Oh, yeah, I'd watch it if it was just a footage of some guy's phone like halfway out of his shirt. I can't even see the other half of the screen.
That's literally what it is. That's literally what it is.
Everything I click on online and I think it's like, it gets blocked.
Maybe it was the guy in the homemade Iron Man costume. Like he was disguising himself as a trash can and just like that's
possibly.
like what's that? Oh, that's just another. The people are getting really messy. That's just another garbage can, and then no one's looking. He pops his hand up.
Like Solid Snake.
What?
Just goes in like Solid.
He goes in like Solid Snake. All of a sudden you hear like.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely like the trailer's off of YouTube.
Yeah,
because Disney came in and said, "No, we're not having it."
Oh yeah.
But like, you can still find it on other sites, like on our Facebook page. I try to post up everything I could possibly get from San Diego Comic-Con. Like my phone was blowing up that entire weekend. It was exhausting.
Yeah. Now, I will say with the Infinity War, and we mentioned this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Since the MCU, they've made enjoyable but movies that are taking the safe route for the most part. Since this is the conclusion, the culmination of this 22 movie arc, I do want to see some major character deaths at the end of the next two Avengers films.
I got a really
in Infinity War
feeling Tony's not going to make it out of this one.
I hope not.
I don't think Cap's going to make it out of this one.
Well, their contracts are up.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's also going to be really interesting to see the Guardians of the Galaxy with the Avengers, because the tone is so, I don't want to say different, but it's a different vibe, I'll say. When you watch the movies,
Based on like Falcon's reaction to Spider-Man in Civil War, I can't wait to see how he reacts to like Rocket Raccoon and Groot.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah. I want to see like Iron Man meet Groot. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, one guy's just like, so well spoken and so, whatever, and the other guy's just like Groot. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But the question with regard to trailers and so on.
Yeah.
Apart from I really, apart from the big ones, like I want to see Black Panther. That looks really great.
Oh, yeah.
And what was the other one? Justice League, obviously. But the thing, honestly, that came out of Comic-Con that I'm the most excited about is the Rocko's Modern Life TV movie.
Wow.
I completely forgot about that.
I did too.
I think that looks awesome. I'm a huge Rocko's Modern Life fan. I was in the '90s. I am now.
Childhood
So
'90s.
it is like a movie though, not like a whole show.
No, they're doing
it's a movie.
they're basically doing a movie, and it's going to be satirizing a lot of the things that are problematic in today's society. They're going to be riffing on iPhones and energy drinks and the fact that there's a Starbucks everywhere and this and this and that. Like one of the funniest things in the trailer. First of all, it's like the voices are they got the same voice cast. I mean, Joe Murray, the showrunner for Rocko, the creator, he's totally behind it and giving his thumbs up and everything. And the thing in the trailer, which was hilarious, was like, people are taking all these like energy drinks and everything, and then they're like, it's radioactive, and they're starting to grow like different heads, and like they're just, it's still going to be, I guess, within a medium of like, kids, like, you can be 13 to watch it or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But I've always respected the way that they can put adult humor in that. And still slip it under the radar, you know what I mean?
There was tons of it. Like,
it was.
Dude,
It was.
Rocko was a phone sex operator.
It's true. There was that. There was an episode where they referenced The Shining, where Hitler. Hitler. No, Hitler was never on Rocko's Modern Life. They never went that dark. That was not Nickelodeon. Where Heifer was a security guard, and they parodied The Shining. Where I sell my soul for a milkshake, and then that guy shows up with flavor heifer, and they were doing things like that all the time. They parodied Psycho and all kinds of. It was a brilliant show that was very ahead of its time. So I'm excited that they're bringing it back, but they're not overdoing it. It's going to be like maybe an hour and 20-minute movie or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be on Nickelodeon.
And then that's it. So I think that's cool. It's like, hey, the fans want it. We're gonna, riff on today's society, and we're out.
Oh,
see,
that's awesome.
Rocko's Modern Life. That was a little bit before my time.
Mm-hmm.
So one movie I'm really excited about that was released at San Diego was the new Hey Arnold movie coming out.
I was just
getting
ready to mention
late '90s, early 2000s. That was like my childhood.
Yeah.
And Hey Arnold was always just a great show for me because it had those funny moments, but it also had like those real like down to earth, heart to heart moments.
It did.
That kept like the character and really strong character relations and everything. And I guess when they made the first movie, it wasn't the actual movie they wanted to make. It was the one the studio wanted them to make. They always wanted to have this one where like Arnold and his friends go to the jungle and find Arnold's parents, and it's gonna be like this big climax to the whole show. And that's the one they're making now, and I'm really
you think that's usually a problem, since you mentioned how like it's what the studio wants. You think that's a huge problem in Hollywood, where it's like the studios, what I always call the suits, they automatically assume this is what the fans want, and this is what we're gonna get. Yeah. For example, the horrible Fantastic Four movies. I can relate. I see your eyes roll. Let me see what they've been doing with the DCEU, and the X-Men franchises. It's like it's all the suits. But then when you finally decide to listen to the fans, you get hits like Deadpool. You get hits like Logan and stuff. You really find that that's a huge problem in Hollywood?
I don't know if it's a huge problem all around, but I think it is definitely something that's crippling creativity and like true inspiration. Because you have these filmmakers, like passionate people who want to work on the project and have all these great ideas, and then you have, like you call them, the suits coming in, and they have their charts and their graphs, and be like, well, people are into this right now, so this is what the movie should be about. And it's like, how about you let them do their own thing, and maybe people will be into this now. Maybe this will be the new trendsetter if you just let them do what they want. Like I don't want them. I don't think people should have like insane movies that like just The Shining, but like turned up to 10. But definitely, I think we need to give filmmakers and people like that more creativity over their own projects.
Okay.
I agree too, especially when you have studios like Marvel who hire independent filmmakers who you would never associate with big budget filmmaking. Like, for example, the directors of Captain Marvel, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who directed Half Nelson and Sugar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're directing a Captain Marvel, and then you have
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler
doing Black Panther.
Yeah,
doing Black Panther
because Creed was so good,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you have
and Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but it's on my list. Yeah,
yeah. And then for a while you had Edgar Wright, who was the original director of Ant-Man, who left because of creative differences. Yeah, it's like
it kind of does. It remind you of back in the 70s when the indie people were kind of getting through the cracks in the Hollywood wall. You know what I mean? How they had how Francis Coppola was basically directing The Rain People and The Conversation and things like that, and then they're like, we're gonna have you do The Godfather. You know what I mean? Or George Lucas had just made a few student films. We're gonna give him a chance and do this big budget movie. It does kind of feel like that again, doesn't it? Where the indie people are kind of scaling the wall, or they're kind of getting in by through the back door.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. I definitely see that, because in the 70s, you had a lot of novice filmmakers at the time who are legends today, and and Hollywood, it was remarkable that's why they call it New Hollywood at the time. They took a chance on these filmmakers. I'll say that the one key difference though is that they're hiring. Nowadays, you have studios who hire those types of filmmakers who are independent or mid-budget, low-budget, and because studios know that they don't have any clout to push back creatively, and so it's well, we can give you some reign here, but this is what we want. It's mandated filmmaking in a way.
Yeah, nowadays, and also back in the day, I mean, it's always been a monetary and a marketing issue too. You know what I mean? It's the more money that a studio is going to put into a project, the more hands in the pie or whatever. Yeah. The more you have to listen to what the suits have to say, the more you have to take their notes, the more you have to, if something is messing with the marketability or whatever of the movie, they're going to make you take that out. So that you have so the more money, basically, the equation is the more money you put into something, the less creative control you're going to have. So I think that's really really the scale that you're working on, something you have to balance now, and just it's the way it's always been. Just whenever someone contributes money to an artistic endeavor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you have the few filmmakers like Christopher Nolan, who actually strikes that ideal balance between creativity and commercial success.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So he does. I can't really deny that. I think it's been a while since I watched a Christopher Nolan movie, but a great one, for example, Inception.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. It's a great movie.
One of my favorites.
Commercial success. If I decide to get bored, I'm hey, let me throw an exception.
It's kind of one of the best indie, it's that indie film feel, but with a really big budget,
right?
Which is really hard to do.
Absolutely, yeah, and also I would throw him in there, maybe to a certain degree, Darren Aronofsky.
Oh yeah.
What's he done?
He's done The Wrestler, Black Swan,
great. Okay.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yep. Oof, that's
heavy.
Yeah, extremely. I recommend it.
I do too, but I don't know if I could ever watch it again.
Yeah, it's funny. I've only watched Requiem for a Dream once.
Oh, me too.
And I still remember because of how intense it was.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now, was that the movie that you mentioned last week, where you would only watch it once because it was so dark?
Oh no, it was
for your taste.
No, it was a Dancer in the Dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's incredibly heavy as well. That's Lars von Trier. Well, I mean, all of Lars von Trier's movies are heavy.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of movies. There's a running joke on the podcast is that Carl and our former co-hosts accuse me of liking movies with that have extremely depressing themes, or any movie that features a character that suffers from a terminal disease.
Your track record shows it.
I see. I disagree.
You can go back on any I challenge you to go back on any episode and just write down your listen to your film reviews, and majority of them the ones that you like, all have cancer.
Not all of them. I mean, Nocturnal Animals. Well, that's one.
See, there you go.
still have to see that. That's one of the. I have a feeling that's one of the best movies that I just missed. Like just because I just didn't get a chance to see it, and I still every time I see somebody post about it, I'm always like, I still have to see it. You know?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
especially Michael Shannon. Oof.
Oh yeah,
he was really great.
Yeah.
How about this then? Breaking Bad. What'd you think?
Oh, this is actually my favorite television series.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah,
me too. Mine too.
I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I can watch it again. It's really depressing at times. And I've tried sitting through the first couple of episodes, and I know what's going to happen to these characters. And because of what I know what's going to happen to them, I can't enjoy what's happening to them now. You know, it's one of those things where I'm glad I watched it, and I would recommend it to almost anybody. Yeah. But I can't do it again. You know, it's too heavy.
I could see that. I mean, especially with Walter White's like descent into like villainy, pretty much.
I never watched. Okay, I watched like 2 episodes of Breaking Bad, liked it, but just never watched it.
You know, it's funny. Like the way you felt about Breaking Bad is how I felt about Sons of Anarchy. Like I've watched the first 2 episodes, but I'm still trying to motivate myself to power through the rest of the season.
See, I'm gonna watch Sons of Anarchy because recently, and just over the past couple of years, I've become a really big fan of Henry Rollins. Do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's the villain in season 2 of Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch season 1 because I'm sure it's gonna be pretty good. But I want to watch his season, and then however I feel after that, if I'm like, I'm good. Like I can just stop, you know, or I'll continue. But I want to watch it because he's the main bad guy in the
season 6 and 7 are really good though.
Really,
they really are.
And I'm also pushing myself to watch it too because like when people bring up classic references to literature and things like that, like because I'm like, oh, Sons of Anarchy, I'll get to it eventually. And someone told me one time, they're like, oh, it's so brilliant. I'm like, why? They're like, because it's King Lear. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it now, you know. And apparently that's true. Apparently, it goes in it takes a lot of inspiration from Shakespeare in terms of like power struggle and that kind of thing. So.
That pretty much nails it.
Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of television shows, there's one we got to mention. Are you guys Game of Thrones fans at all?
I'm one of the few people that isn't.
Really?
Yeah. I just I never. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I mentioned earlier it's a big inspiration for Byrd fiction.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to remember that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry.
I love it.
You mentioned a lot of things, and I might have just like not heard it or something. All right, my bad. Yeah. All right, that one's on me. That one's on me. No, I'm sorry. I'm actually. For me, it just feels too much like homework. I know it sounds lazy, but it sounds too much like homework because there's so many families and so many alliances and so many plots and side plots and so on, and to have to remember all this stuff, it just feels like I'm watching this when I have like leisure time, you know. It's like I don't want to write a book report, you know. I don't know. I probably give it another go. My girlfriend she keeps trying to get me to watch it, and I think I probably eventually will like it. But it's something that I have to.
You should.
I have a bad thing where like if things are popular, I try not to like them. You know, it's really
this guy right here.
What are you talking about?
It sounds like really like it sounds like it sounds really hipsterish, but like for the longest. It sounds weird, but for the longest time, I didn't like the Beatles just because I'm like, oh, well, everybody likes them. I can't like them, you know? And then I started listening to them. I'm like, okay, I can dig this, you know? Like, this is pretty
when
good.
The popularity kind of dies down. For like,
yeah, I'm like,
not really, not
Beatles,
but.
Yeah, that's funny. That's how I felt
this
about
guy right here.
No, that's not true.
Fast and Furious.
Listen, Fast and Furious.
You jumped on that bandwagon late.
Listen, well. Okay, Fast and Furious, I gave a chance after Fast 5.
Exactly.
Because, you know, those movies are made for popcorn munching mouth breathers, but...
Wow.
See.
I mean, I agree, but damn.
Well, I mean, I
that was a hard shot.
Very mean on this.
That was a hard. That was a hard shot. That's like that's a black eye right there.
Was it? I mean, I didn't think it sounded that harsh, but wow, maybe it did. But anyway, like I'm a fan of Fast and Furious.
Now he is.
I mean,
now he
action movies
they're movie pass movies. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, you know, see it 2 weeks after it comes out. Use a movie pass. You know, beat the heat on an afternoon. You know, see the movie. It's cool. But it's fun.
Yeah, turn your brain off. It's like
they're harmless action movies. You know,
absolutely. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's another thing if that's the only type of kind of content you consume.
Oh yeah.
I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody.
Really?
There are worse movies you can see. There are worse movies you can see than the Fast series.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like
Jessica Alba's The Cell. Not Jessica Alba, The Cell with Jennifer Lopez.
Well, I was thinking Transformers, but
Transformers.
If you want to go there,
I like Transformers.
Really?
Transformers is enjoyable.
Yeah, of course you would. But Transformers is horrible. All of them.
I didn't see the last two.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but yeah.
Listen,
off microphone, someone's like, yeah.
Drew's
I
dad.
have to agree with the Transformers kind of bad. Like I watched the second one before any of the other ones because I had no interest in seeing the first one, and I went with a group of friends, and they all wanted to see the second one, and I thought it was cool that everything was a robot. But I had no investment in the story. I didn't care about anything that was happening. I just liked the special effects.
Okay, I mean, we may have to agree to disagree, and then you also have what was something that you didn't like that I liked?
Well, take your pick.
I know there's so many. There's so many.
I mean,
like big franchises.
Well, I mean, there's
like the Pirates movies.
Oh, well, the first one, Black Pearl, is absolutely a nice standalone adventure film.
You want to know why, right? Because it came out of nowhere. Like, no one was expecting it to be good, and we were all pleasantly surprised. Like, I remember seeing that in the theater with my father, and we're just like this will just be dumb, because I think we saw like Cutthroat Island and some other like crappy like Pirates movies and whatever, and we went to see the Disney Pirates of the Caribbean, and we're just like, oh, this is based on a Disney ride. It's not going to be great, but we'll have fun, And then we left. We're like, that was actually a good movie, And then it kind of veered after that. Like it kind of went off track.
Oh yeah, like the sequels got progressively worse. Like I stopped at the third one, and now they have the fifth one that just came out, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yeah, I think
and like the sequels are such bad quality for me. It's like I wish they didn't make the first one.
I think never watched any of them.
Pretty much at this point, every sequel after the second one, I hear about it. My first thought is, really, another one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of complete stories where not dragging it all further and further, just having a complete beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And you know what else with the fifth one, sort of this whole trend of prequels people have been doing. I thought for sure that kid in the trailer was going to be like a young Captain Jack. I'm like, oh cool, we get like an origin story or something. Yeah. Get to see him become this legendary pirate that we know he is.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Depp is in the trailer. And then I'm like, so it's just another sequel.
These are the thoughts going through my mind whenever I see a new Pirates of the Caribbean. First of all, I'm just like, I'm not seeing it, right? but second of all, I'm like, okay, well, because there are people out there that just they live and die for Johnny Depp. They love Johnny Depp, right? So they're like, oh, so someone out there, I'm gonna see this because I like Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp is in it again as Captain Sparrow, a character that I know and like, right? But they also have the other side covered. If you don't like Johnny Depp, they have some cool actor playing the villain, and you're going to be like, I'm going to see it because of that. I'm going to see it because Javier Bardem's in it, or I'm going to see it because Chow Yun-fat.
I think Ian McShane. He was in one of them.
Okay.
Was Chow Yun-fat in one of them? I think he was actually.
Stranger Tides or something maybe.
Either that or the third one. I'm not sure.
But they have really solid acting talent in these movies, and hopefully, if you have to see it or something, like it will make up for the fact that like there's just really no story. It's just like you're enjoying watching actors that you like hamming it up in a fantasy adventure thing with a very predictable story. Like the Expendables.
I like the Expendables.
So do I. But I won't admit that it's an amazing series.
No, it's definitely not. It's not. It's not amazing, but it's enjoyable.
It's like let's just take all the every action hero and heroine that you can think of, cram them in a movie, and just and shit goes crazy. I mean, like that's it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first one. I haven't seen the parts 2 or 3.
Yeah. They're not as good as the first one, but
there's diminishing returns. By the time you get to the third one, it's like PG-13, and it's really
right.
It's really reaching.
It's watered down.
It is. It is. But
it's still enjoyable.
As a series, though, like. I was telling someone about this. Basically, I was saying like Expendables movies extended to like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and things like that. Take old Arnold movies like Commando and stuff like that. Yeah. You want to watch an Arnold movie like that on a Friday night? It's like having takeout pizza. It has no nutritional value, but man, is it fun? And sometimes you just need that.
Yeah,
I don't know what it says to the quality of the movie, but I saw Expendables 3. It's the only one I've actually seen, and I saw it when I got really, really drunk, and I loved it. I had a great time with Expendables 3.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, like I said, I don't know what that says to the quality of it, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
You can.
know?
You can.
Okay. I mean, it's like have you revisited it sober?
No, I don't dare.
Oh, okay.
I watched them all sober. That was fine.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of fun popcorn films out there, like say no nutritional value, but I mean, which most of which I enjoy, but I will say that if your movie going or diet consists of only non-nutritional value films, Carl, then
I've watched some good movies.
What is
even subtle?
What's his name? What does Guillermo del Toro say? He said their movies or art in general. There's stuff that's eye candy and there's stuff that's eye protein. You know what I mean? So you try to and there's nothing wrong with eye candy. If you want to see a movie that's just explosions and just fast cars and stuff like that, that's fine. But you got to mix it up. You got to kind of, and at least me, like you got to kind of be open to everything and have an open mind. So.
I like to believe that I have a pretty fair balance.
Okay.
You said you watched one of the Criterion movies, right? That Victor.
Yeah, I watched Tootsie.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a good start.
Good comedy, good underlying social commentary, solid film.
Yeah. Now, will you sit down and watch The Neon Demon?
You know what? Sure, why not?
It's a slow burn, but man, is that a great film.
Oh yeah, he jones about it on a Victor's Corner, which is like a little sub show that we have.
That's the episode I listened to. That was one of the
Yeah.
episodes I listened to that got me interested in your podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
It'll be a why not. And then if it's too much, just like Victor, you're just a dark individual who needs some sunshine in his life.
You have no idea what you're in for with The Neon Demon.
Listen,
It's
I
great.
sat through a movie called I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh my god, I still haven't seen that yet.
I haven't heard.
Didn't Roger Ebert I think almost walked out of that back in the day? Like like that's how intense that movie is. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
It's basically a story of revenge. A girl who was a writer, she goes off into this cabin. She makes a stop because she kind of gets a little lost. So these three guys, they give her directions to the cabin that she's going to. So then they come in, beat her, rape her, pretty much leave her for dead.
Yep.
And then sometimes comes by, she awakens as like a zombie, but she's still like alive, and she brutally murders them.
She takes them down.
Yeah, one by one.
Okay. Well, that's
It was made in the 70s.
Yeah, and then there was also a remake. It was also a remake sometime in last. In the
But I
last
hear
decade.
though that it's a notorious movie. I hear that it's one of the hardest movies to watch. Like it's really like
I sat through it like it was nothing.
really. I hear it's
Yeah.
very very upsetting.
I mean,
Like,
I'm not gonna sit down and watch Raw. Something that you recommended.
I want to see that.
Raw is very good.
I want to see Raw. I do.
Yeah, it's a very good film.
Anytime there's an art house cannibal movie, count me in.
Speaking of cannibals, like, have you? I've never seen it, and I don't know if I ever want to. Have you seen Cannibal Holocaust?
I have not. It's on again. It's on my list. This podcast is going off the rails. It's getting so weird. It's just
we're known
what
to do
disturbing film are you gonna like? Where's your limit? You're gonna be like Antichrist. Like, have you seen it?
Oh, I don't dare see that.
Yeah, that was amazing. Anyway, but Cannibal Holocaust. I do want to see it. It's one of those things like where I'll probably like watch once and then just be like just to kind of wear it as a film person and be like, yeah, I've seen that, to impress people basically, but it'll probably completely repulse me.
How about you, Drew? What's your most disturbing motion picture?
Controversial films.
Have you ever seen Tusk?
I've heard of it.
That is great.
That's a really... I didn't know what I was getting into going in. My buddy goes, hey, man, you got to watch this movie. I go, what's it about? He goes, it's by Kevin James. He go, but what's it about, though? He goes, no, just watch it.
Yeah.
And I go into this, and I
Whenever they say that, you just know you're like going into something bad.
It's so good.
That
like,
one it was good, but it actually disturbed me. Like I went away from that. I felt like gross,
Wow.
And it was. If you do anything about it, do you want to tell me about it? Because it's about this. It's about the iMac guy. The I'm a Mac.
Justin
I'm a PC.
Long.
Justin Long. Yeah.
Justin Long. Yeah.
And
Is he still working?
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah.
He's in Tusk.
Yeah.
But he ends up finding this crazy guy who surgically turns him into a walrus.
Yep.
And
Michael
he's
Parks.
forced- Yeah, and he's forced to to act like a walrus because this guy's just treating him like one, and that's the only way he's gonna stay alive. And and it gets to the point where there's really like no going back with the amount of like surgery and stuff he goes through and the mental torturing. And so, this guy's just a walrus now. And you'd think, that he'd want to be put down, that he'd want him to like kill him or something, but no, he's just like that now. Wow. And it really fucked me up,
I gotta see that.
That's right up your alley.
I would say 3 things about Tusk. 1, I'm a Kevin Smith fan, so of course I saw Tusk. 2, just it's just I always love and respect whenever I see things on film that I've never seen before, and I've never seen somebody surgically turn into a walrus, so that was kind of great. And apparently I'm very sick because of that. But I also thought it was there's a strange dark comedy to that movie.
There is, especially with. I found out later on that Johnny Depp is actually in that movie.
Yeah,
and he's wearing makeup, so it's not apparently it's not obvious at first, but he plays this like crazy detective that the main character's friends hired to help find him, and he's like retracing the guy's steps, and like his process for finding this guy is actually like really ingenious. Kevin James did a good job on that. Kevin Smith.
Yeah, because it takes place in Canada.
Yeah.
So Johnny Depp is like a French Canadian detective, almost kind of in a way doing nods to like Inspector Clouseau or something. Like he's really hamming it up, and it's really, I don't know. But the reason I think I like Tusk so much is because I'm a big David Lynch fan, and so much of Tusk felt like Kevin Smith doing a David Lynch movie.
Oh wow!
And that's what I thought. Because there were certain parts of it where it got like so uncomfortable that I was just chuckling and giggling, like the way that like if you watch Twin Peaks or Blue Velvet or something, like sometimes it gets so intense and so ridiculous and just so disquieting that you're just like, like you have to kind of, to release the tension, you almost kind of have to laugh. So I don't know, I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Now I gotta ask a question about Johnny Depp. He has done so many like movies, with makeup and stuff. If he was to see him walking down the street, do you think you would even recognize him at this point?
I mean, probably not at this point, no. But like, whenever somebody like shows you a picture of Johnny Depp, you can always kind of tell that, that's Johnny Depp, regardless of the role he's playing,
Honestly, I wouldn't, unless he's dressed up as Captain Jack Sparrow, I would not recognize him.
I think I'd recognize him. I think I'd be like, hey, that's some guy. He looks like he might be in a bar cover band that's playing down the street. Oh, no, that's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be fronting like a Black Crowes cover band. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's never won an Oscar, right?
No, he hasn't.
And it's a shame too, because a lot of his earlier work is really good, like Ed Wood and things like that. Yeah,
Ed Wood is fantastic.
Leo finally got an Oscar, so now we're gonna move on to Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
exactly. And Leo can finally do some fun movies.
He's done fun movies like Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, that
was great.
You got me right there.
Yeah,
seeing that in the theater was pretty interesting. I actually thought, because I saw it in a packed theater, I saw it Wolf of Wall Street. What it came out 2013 or something like that. I saw it like New Year's Day, I think, so I guess it would have been 2014 or something, right?
Yeah,
technically.
Yeah. So I saw it in a theater full of people, and I just wasn't ready for how extreme that movie was going to get. Like, I mean, no spoilers, but I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like, I don't know how this movie got an R rating. I don't know what, because apparently Martin Scorsese cut stuff out of it for it to get an R rating. I'm like, what did he cut? Like,
he's snorting coke off a girl's ass.
He is, among other things,
R rating enough.
So I'm watching this, and I'm seeing different people in the audience. I'm kind of just, taking a break from the movie and just gazing around to see who's watching it, and I'm seeing people of various ages, and I'm seeing elderly people and stuff like that. And I'm amused because I have this thing in me where I like it when things are so controversial that other people find it offensive and have to leave just because they can't take. I don't know. I like that.
Okay, so that I can agree with.
So I like that, right? I'm like, all right, who's gonna walk out? How many walkouts are we gonna have? Like, I was kind of playing a game of like, I don't think there are any walkouts. I think everybody sat through it, and I think that because it's Scorsese, and I think he won everybody over because he's such a great filmmaker.
Did you sit through Passion of the Christ, since that caused people to walk out and apparently one person died?
One, I had no interest in seeing Passion of the Christ.
Okay.
And two, I'd probably watch it now and just be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, so
yeah.
I'm not invested religiously in that movie, so I'm just like, I'll see it eventually. But at the time when it came out, I really had no interest in seeing it.
The first time I saw, actually, probably the first and I've only like 2 times I've seen it. I saw Passion of the Christ. I was pretty young, like early teens, and I saw it with the youth group of the church I used to go to. And I remember like we had this we had like a sleepover one night at the church, and everyone was there, and they were like prepping us for this movie, like mentally, like, guys, this is like a really intense movie. All right, just want to know what you're getting into. And we're like, yeah, okay, like it's gonna be. I'm thinking like, wow, this is gonna be like hard to watch. As a kid, it was fine, you know. Like it's a good movie, but it's not like intense to the point where I had to like stop watching it.
Yeah, I looked at it because I grew up in a Christian household, very religious family, and I just watched it. I'm just like, okay, well, it's literally the same story I hear everything Easter
else
with blood.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah, I saw it too, and I was like, man, if this was about anybody else, this would have gotten an NC-17 rating, and it would not have hit theaters.
There was definitely some politics at work there. Yeah. But I think apart from that movie, I think Jim Caviezel's actually a really good actor. I like him. He's in a golf movie where he plays Bobby Jones. He's like one of the innovators of the golf as we know it today, and it's really good. So he's been in because everybody knows him from Passion of the Christ, but he's so good in other films. I actually like to see him get more work.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him again. I haven't really seen him in much.
He was in a TV series, Person of Interest. I heard that was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Wow. So yeah, we kind of went all over the map with this this episode.
We still got to get to our question of the week and stuff. Maybe I can tap into last week's. I think you liked the pick. You actually did like it. What movie would you erase from your memory?
You want to go first?
No, I'm gonna let you take this one. Because it depends on how you want to answer it. It could be just like it was so bad that I wish I didn't see it, or it was traumatizing, or if it was just a waste of time. You know what I mean?
So we were going with so bad that you wish you never.
So bad, okay.
So bad you wish you never saw it.
Okay.
If I'm answering the first question, a movie I wish I could erase from my memory, I'm gonna have to go with probably Pacific Rim.
Ooh,
because I like that movie so much.
Ouch.
I wish I could watch it again. Just without any knowledge going in.
Oh, okay.
Like I re-experienced that first time watching it. Is that valid?
Yeah.
I got scared for a minute. I thought like you didn't like it at all. I'm like, that movie's
I
awesome.
love Pacific Rim.
Okay, good.
You would erase it from your memory to watch it again.
To have
first time.
have the experience the first time, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
But
What about
like
you, Kurt?
the worst movie I think would be I saw Samurai Cop recently.
Wait, which one?
Samurai Cop.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Not a lot of samurai, too much cop.
Okay.
Oh.
What about you, Kurt?
Movie that I just wish I could erase. It's weird because not really erase because it's instantly forgettable. But I just wish I didn't see Sofia Coppola's The Bling Ring. I just felt I felt like it just could have been like a 20-minute short. It really was not a feature film. It really I was really surprised that something like that got so much coverage and publicity and everything that really just felt like I kind of like have seen better things at like student festivals.
Wow.
Yeah. So our Instagram followers answered the question. Tattoos by Dre Tavares says The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Evolution.
Ooh.
Both horrible.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to do the thing where like we would watch like I was hanging out with some people and then you were at your house and we would and it was you were capable of doing this back then. You could watch movies through the Xbox and
Netflix app, yeah.
Through the and what was it basically like?
If you were in a party on Xbox and you were all on the Netflix app, you were able to like somebody would control the movie and we could all watch the movie at the same time, which is really cool. And then they took the feature out, unfortunately, so we had to like sort of like makeshift it so it'd be like, all right guys, I'm gonna pause the movie in 3 seconds, and we'd pause it at the same time at everybody's house, and then restart it and everything. We tried to do that again, but it didn't really work out. And we used to do this thing where we'd watch like every Friday or something like that. We'd watch a really bad movie, and we just think like. Especially since we had like our Xbox avatars at the bottom of the screen watching it while we did. It was kind of like a mystery Theater 3000 type deal.
It was great.
It was
a lot of
funny.
fun. A lot of fun. That's when I first became aware of talking with you guys.
It's
you and
basically
your dad.
how we became friends.
Yeah. But the thing where I was going with that was because somebody mentioned The Last Airbender. Did you do that night with us? Like, you were watching Last Airbender with us, weren't you?
I don't think I watched it with you guys, but I saw it in the theater with my friends.
Okay, because we did a crappy movie night.
Sorry to hear that.
Because we did a crappy movie night where we watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I almost couldn't sit through it. Like, it was like...
No, yeah, it was hard, because especially since my friends and I were such big fans of the show, that we had way too high expectations about the movie, and it just... I think we saw it, like, the opening weekend, too, and it let us down, man.
Oh yeah,
it was that one. I wasn't a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so I didn't watch Dragon Ball the live action one.
Don't.
But
Don't.
Yeah.
Why would I?
Thank you.
You're gonna probably recoil in horror from this, but I saw on Twitter today. I think it was today or yesterday. They're like, there's a script circulating for Dragon Ball Evolution 2. I'm like, God, get this off the internet. Get it. Nobody needs this.
Oh my.
That's the scariest thing I probably heard all
That is
this
awful.
week.
I know.
That is awful.
That's scarier than the new It movie,
All right, I gotta read out John Aponic, who we call he's my supervillain because he's such a DC guy. And and I'm a Marvel guy. Like, he makes excuses why Suicide Squad and BVS are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, tempted to put Thor 2, but who am I kidding? K-Pax was the worst experience ever. It made me outright angry. Runner-up is Transformers, which I almost walked out on. And then his wife, Jessica Concussion, says, The Last Circus, you can unwatch someone unwillingly burn their face with an iron. # haunts my dreams. This week, name a movie that traumatized you as a kid.
Ooh,
That's hard.
that's a tough one.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like as a kid I was able to handle movies pretty well. I don't know if any really like traumatized me. You know?
I think I have two. Just trying to remember as far back. I think back in like either the late 80s, like one of my first movie theater experiences was actually kind of traumatizing. Somebody took me to see a reissue, like they put it back in theater. Disney put it back in theaters or whatever. Pinocchio, I think, didn't they do that like in the late 80s or early 90s? So I might have been like, I was born in 86, so I might have been, like just 4 or 5 or something like that. But they put Pinocchio back in the theaters on the big screen, and I went to see it. And I remember being really, really just very creeped out by like the fact that he went into the whale, and I felt very claustrophobic. And then when everyone was getting turned into the donkeys and everything, I just felt like I was just weirded out by a lot of the supernatural elements of it, and it was just it kind of freaked me out. And the other one was I saw Mortal Kombat when it came out, and the part at the beginning freaked me out so much. It sounds so weird to say now because it's like kind of a cheesy, laughable movie, from like 97 or 96 or something like that. And the part at the beginning when Liu Kang has the dream about his brother being killed by Shang Tsung, and then like he's like, your soul's mine, whatever. And then they zoom in on that weird like rotting skull thing. That freaked me the hell out. I remember, I think I walked out of the theater and I remember being so excited about seeing Mortal Kombat. I'm just like, I played the game when I wasn't supposed to. It was like the naughty thing to do at the time, whatever. I remember seeing this in the theater. This opening scene freaked me out, ran out, and then I remember I had to like think about it again and then go back and see it and like face my fear. And the rest of the movie was really just so cheesy. I'm like everything after that was like, it was not traumatizing at all. But that freaked me out though. It freaked me out.
Yeah, the thing you said with Pinocchio kind of reawakened some repressed memories I had. Not the animated one, but the live action one they made afterwards.
Oh my god!
I think I've never seen the live action.
That one messed me up.
Not the horror movie. Because it's a horror Pinocchio.
No, it was like a they were trying to play it, just like a straight like enchanted Pinocchio thing. Like it was just the same story, but it was live action.
Was that the one that was done by what's his name?
Roberto Benigni.
Yeah, was that the one?
Yeah,
so.
that was the one.
That one messed me up as a kid.
But he's such a happy man.
Kind of like the same scene, like the kids turning into donkeys. That one freaked me the hell out.
Yeah,
that was
Wow.
Just maybe the magic and supernatural elements at a young age just was it was just so like, like I know a lot of people, I think like if they ask Stephen King this question, he said that Bambi was, I think, like the scariest thing he'd seen, you know what I mean, because of like, the death of the mother and all this kind of stuff, so it's I don't know, Disney movies seem to traumatize people at an early age.
For me, I would have to say Candyman.
You know, I watched that recently.
Candyman.
I thought it was brilliant, but again, I was late to the party on that because everybody watched it like when it first came out, when it was a big thing. They knew, you know, like everybody knows before, you know, everybody knew Tony Todd from Candyman. I knew him from like The Rock, you know, what I mean, right? But now seeing Candyman, now he's definitely Candyman.
Yeah, like just him
Very
standing
scary.
there with the bugs like just
Very
all on
scary.
him. I'm like,
Very scary.
Ugh.
Great story, great themes. Candyman's an incredible film.
God forbid we sit in front of the mirror saying Candyman 3 times. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking around the room right now for mirrors. I really hope we don't have one in here. So
Candyman
please don't
messed
try
me
that.
all up.
Man, I don't know if I don't think I have an answer for this one. I mean, I've seen a bunch of like intense movies as a kid. Like I saw RoboCop.
Oh wow.
All the Aliens films.
Okay.
Predator. Maybe I'd say like maybe one that kind of freaked me out was the first Friday the 13th at the very end when Jason plunged out of the water and dragged that
the classic ending. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because of the look of Jason looked like such like a friggin' I don't know, it was a combination of like a demon like bathed in toxic waste. And I was like,
Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, kind of looked like that, but way freakier. But for some reason, just the image of how Jason looked popping out of that water,
decomposed and like rotting flesh, and like his face was like half off and everything. Like, it's really it's very unsettling.
Yeah, that kind of. I mean, that kind of rattled me for a couple of days when I was a kid.
Well, that part at the end of Carrie with the hand.
Oh yeah, I actually kind of laughed at that one. Actually,
Really?
Yeah.
Carrie, I thought was amazing.
Yeah,
that was like just the best like revenge scene ever.
Carrie, the original Carrie with Sissy Spacek, done by Brian De Palma, is still to this day one of the best horror films ever made.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. So, any emails?
No emails. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So where can everybody? Where can they find you?
Well, we have a Splash Page Comics Facebook page.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's the easiest place to find us because that has links to our Comixology and our Tumblr.
Awesome.
Which are the two places you can find us. But again, like the Facebook page, the symbol's like a brown with blue letters.
Okay.
And it just says Splash Page Comics.
Yeah. All right.
You can find me on. I'm on Facebook just with Splash Page Comics. I contribute there. You and I both basically contribute to that page. But I'm on there as Curtis Parvin. But on my Instagram and my Twitter, you can find me at Dollar Store Film.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, thank you guys so much for coming to our show.
Man, this was super fun. Thanks for having us on.
Oh yeah, you guys know you're coming back, right?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And for our Facebook viewers and listeners, you can check out Curtis Parvin's comic Legend of Byrd Fist, art by Drew Kelly. Check it out on Comixology. It's only 99 cents, people. You got that to spare. It's a really cool read.
It is. It is.
And as for us, Codex Prime, you can find us all over the social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also find all of our episodes on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube.
And we have a Twitch channel as well that we need to utilize more often.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you to all of our Facebook listeners for watching us and listening to us. So you can just tune in next week on the Codex Prime podcast. Tuesday nights around 6-ish p.m.
Yeah.
We'll be back. And we will catch you next week. Peace out, nerds.
Later. Bye.